Badenoch, can we turn to the issue of Henry Staunton, please?
Sure.
In your witness statement, your first witness statement, you deal with the dismissal of Henry Staunton, as we had asked you to do. Just by way of background, is it right he was appointed as the chair of the Post Office back on the 2nd of September 2022, and so predated your appointment as Secretary of State for about 5 months, or by about 5 months?
Yes. I'm not exactly sure of his appointment date, but it certainly predated me.
He wasn't, in any event, one of your appointments?
No, he was not.
When you started your position as Secretary of State in February 2023 and were briefed, was anything said to you about Mr. Staunton being problematic or an unsuitable person to be the chair of the Post Office?
Not when I first started. There were issues around general issues around the board, finding the right people and so on, and that it was not a happy place being at the Post Office, but nothing specific or personal, no.
So nothing specific or personal about him?
No.
And nothing of the order of magnitude that was suggested to you the following year in January 2024?
No, nothing at all.
No. Okay. Can we go back to the briefing that you received, Bays 301061? And can we go to page 9, please? This briefing to you sets out the key stakeholders. And the first bullet point refers to Mr. Staunton, Post Office Chair Henry Staunton, and it says that it's recommended that you meet him. Did you meet Mr. Staunton?
No, I did not.
And why not?
I don't know. There was a recommendation that I met him, and I didn't say no to that. But nothing was ever organised. It may be that something was, and it fell through. But I remember, at this point, I'm still trying to carry out a lot of my trade secretary work. I'm travelling a lot. So if people weren't sort of banging on the door to meet, the meetings didn't necessarily happen. And remember, the Post Office is one of very many arm's length bodies. I didn't meet the people running a lot of them unless there was often an issue. I would get updates. They tended to meet with the Department Director General or with the junior minister. So a Secretary of State meeting was not necessarily prerequisites to doing the job. But those who wanted to meet me did meet me. There was never any request from Mr. Staunton either.
When you subsequently, thank you, that can come down. When you subsequently came to inform Mr. Staunton on the 27th of January the following year, 2024, in the course of a phone call that he was being dismissed from his position as chair of the Post Office, you made a number of comments about the fact that the pair of you had never met over the course of that year, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Can we look, please, at a recording or a transcript of a recording of that call, Bays 301059. Transcription of a recording of the phone call that you had with Mr. Staunton on the 27th of January 2024. Now, I think you didn't have this transcript when you first made your witness statement.
No, I didn't.
You said that you very much wanted to have it and you'd asked departmental officials to track down a copy of the tape.
Yes.
And I think you worked in your first witness statement from a... Now, we've now got the tape and therefore this transcript of it. You'll see that it starts up sort of mid-sentence and doesn't include the introductions at the beginning. Can you help us? Why was the call recorded?
To help the note-taker carry out a good summary of minutes.
And is that usual?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't take the notes. It may be. It may not be.
Did you know that it was recorded?
Not at the time.
Okay, so this was something that was going on by...
This was something I discovered after... Mr. Staunton had made the false allegations to the Sunday Times, and aware that there is a recording which would prove that as well.
And do you know whether Mr. Staunton was informed that it was recorded at the time? It was
If
taking
I
place?
wasn't, I suspect he wasn't as well. The purpose of the recording was to get minutes written accurately, and probably they would have been disposed of immediately and maybe retrieved from deleted. I've never had this situation before, so it probably isn't, but I suspect on this occasion it was just to make sure that the minutes were very accurate, given the severity and the media interest, that the minutes were very accurate. That's certainly what I was made to understand at the time, that it wouldn't necessarily be usual to have a recording.
Let's read through this. Mr. Staunton, in mid-sentence, it's a massive, massive problem here in terms of trying to. At least you've got training going much better now. Things are moving in certain directions, but it's a handful, I've got to say. I've chaired some companies, a lot of companies, very successfully, but this one's a bit of a nightmare. But we could have got through it, but it needed UKGI to be on side, out the business. And the context of that is that by the time you're speaking, the fact that you were to dismiss him had already been leaked.
Yes. Which was extremely frustrating because I had wanted to do it in a particular sequence and spare him embarrassment.
Because I had an inkling only last week with the chairman and chief executive UKGI, and I was going to tell them all this. I know it's UKGI, but I've never met you, you see. I've chaired so many companies you would not believe. As an international company where the share price more than quadrupled, and I could do that on 15 hours a week. This is 4 times the time. You just wouldn't know the half of it, Secretary of State. I do know, responsible for, the Post Office was the one where I never heard from you directly. You know, the CMA, UCES...
that would have been UKEF, UK Export Finance.
The British business banks, the chairs of all these organisations would reach out to my office fairly frequently. Just stopping there, what did you mean by that? Kevin Hollingrig did manage the relationship very well, but there didn't seem to be any interest in doing much more.
And that Kevin did have meetings with him, and he fed back to me how that relationship was going. And so, I do believe now, is that he didn't seem to want to meet me. And, one can speculate on the reasons from a hindsight perspective, but at the time, I simply assumed that he was perfectly happy having meetings with Kevin Hollingrig. In hindsight, I think that he did not want to meet me.
And so there didn't seem to be any interest in doing much more. You're saying interest. So by that you mean, but you didn't seem to have any interest in doing much more?
Yes, that's what that...
So that's directed towards Mr. Staunton, not Mr. Hollingrig?
No. I think Mr. Hollingrig did an excellent job.